ran into Ben Shapiro, and he said there's you schmoozed with him in Boca.
Yeah, speaking of Boca and Florida. Well, I did bump into Ben.
Yeah. He eviscerates Ben Shapiro.
No, we had a nice conversation.
Oh.
A nice conversation, but I don't have to make it personal at all about the. I spoke to him about this issue that went on at the Daily Wire, this past.
Which is Ben's
week.
website.
Ben founded it. Him and Jeremy Boring, this guy.
Yeah, I think they make $100 million a year.
Oh, it's insane. They've built a media empire. It's quite impressive. We all know what the Daily Wire is. Who's watching? If you don't know, go look it up. All right, you know what the Daily Wire is. When Ben was the editor of Breitbart, he left
to make the Daily Wire
because Breitbart. He was the editor in chief of Breitbart.
Yeah.
Then he left after an incident with a reporter, Michelle Field. I think her name. No. Breitbart was stumping for Trump and just became a publication that was pro-Trump.
Mm-hmm.
And Ben left and started his own company called The Daily Wire.
Got it.
Which was first just articles and these kinds of things, and built it up with his business partner, Jeremy Boring, who's the CEO. And they've built an empire. And now they have 400 employees. They're headquartered now in Nashville. They moved from LA.
And everyone lives in Nashville, but he lives in Miami or Boca because of the Jewish community.
Yeah, Ben's in Florida.
I read an article about
Ben's in Florida.
Times, I think, or New Yorker.
You're saying because it's public information? Yeah, he moved to Florida. He made a video about it. He moved to Florida.
Well, that's how I know it.
He moved to Florida, and they moved the whole company to Nashville. Yeah. But the point is,
You're talking to him about this drama.
Yeah. So there was some drama this week in conservative media, big drama. A big soap opera style drama where.
So wait, let me preface this with the whole time I was in Israel, I didn't update my podcast episode feed. So I didn't check news at all. Oh. I took a big detox, so I don't know anything that happened.
So that felt pretty good though, right?
Great.
Yeah.
Great.
But I'll tell you, in conservative media, a massive drama this week because basically. There's an online content creator, YouTuber named Steven Crowder. He has a show called Louder with Crowder. I'm surprised you don't know what it is. I'm sure you've seen him. He's built up 6 million subscribers over there. He's one of the most successful conservative media YouTubers. These
things are very siloed. If you're not in it, you don't see it.
Yeah. But he has a huge following. Yeah. And he tours and he's got a whole thing. He's huge in this space. Huge. As a creator, he's as a guy who's done videos, and he has this segment called Ask Me Anything where he goes to college campuses and he debates people. He's got all that stuff.
He's funny.
He fancies himself a comedian and a comic and all that stuff. I mean, you wouldn't find it. I don't think you would. Yes, it's on the goofy side of things.
And he's
we're going to go and own the libs. Join Mug Club.
Is he more to the right than Ben Shapiro, or
just as right?
Okay.
Right wing, pro-lifer, guns.
He's a reasonable fellow though. He'll say something reasonable here and there.
Yes, but he's also in it for the fight. He likes the fight. He likes the debate. So he likes the provocation.
He's not a reasonable fellow.
Reasonable?
Like on any given issue, you know what he's going to say. He doesn't surprise you with what he's going to say.
No, he doesn't. But he's good at what he does, and I think he buys into his ideology. He's conservative, and he's in it for the fight, fighting the left, fighting the But it's that classic sort of thing of this is my show, and we're gonna have other people on and debate them and try to whatever, and he'll crash left wing events. Right. He's not Alex Jones conspiracy style stuff, but he does same kind of tactics of debate. And he's not Alex Jones, but he's a conservative media personality. Okay. And he's had falling outs with Fox News, and then he was with The Blaze for a while. You know what The Blaze is, right?
I don't.
Owned by Glenn Beck.
Okay.
The macro background of this is, as legacy media is sort of dying, and we've spoken about this over and over, these new media outlets have formed from the Young Turks on the left to the Daily Wire on the right, and other people who've created The Blaze. And what they do is they'll sign contracts and deals with online creators in this space to give them money to do shows and podcasts and these kinds of things and create films.
Like Jordan Peterson.
So you said, why you asked one question a couple weeks ago, why does Jordan Peterson sign with the Daily Wire? And I sent you a video as to why.
But that's common practice now.
Yes.
I didn't watch it. I didn't watch anything.
Well, I sent you a video as to why, and I'll tell you why they made a video explaining why Jordan joined. I'm all over the place.
Let me guess. It wasn't because of the money.
Well, anyway, this guy, Steven Crowder, was allies and good friends with these people at the Daily Wire. They've done stuff together and crossover stuff all the time. And it came out that they offered him a contract to join the Daily Wire team and be part of the Daily Wire Plus subscriber base, behind the paywall, put content up and stuff. They offered him $50 million over 4 years.
Holy.
That was his contract. It was a term sheet. It wasn't even a binding contract. They offered us conversation starter.
That's crazy.
And Yeah, they offered him $50 million over 4 years. Like they don't just make $100 million a year. I think they make a lot more. But
Okay.
anyway, this was like so he could have an operating budget. He could do podcasts. He could do his content. But it was like a signing with any platform. They would own some pieces of it or whatever. Yeah. And then he comes out first with a video saying, "I didn't want to have to do this." And he goes on and he's like, "I'm not going to name names, but we have to stop Big Con. They're becoming an arm of big tech." And he reads the terms of these sheets and he's like, these are egregious. They're going to exploit younger creators in the conservative movement. This is about a movement. It's not about the money. He doesn't name names. But everyone's like, this is the Daily Wire. This is the Daily Wire. Everyone's guessing it. So Daily Wire issues a response. And the CEO reads the term sheet line by line. This is what we offered him. This was a conversation. He's a friend of ours. I'm not sure why this would be going down. They're like, they've been friends and associates forever. This is like a Game of Thrones level thing. Then Steven Crowder issues a follow-up video to that. And he goes, I didn't want to have to do this, but boom. And he pushes record and he recorded secretly a conversation he had with the CEO of Daily Wire. And it's not that damning a conversation. It's just like he said some lines like, listen, so we offer them slave wages when they start, but they grow their brand. We make them famous and then we can renegotiate. He's like, it's not about the money. And he's like, I just think if somebody comes in with 100,000 subscribers, how are they going to, deal with the terms of this contract without being completely exploited, whatever. But I'm just like, he's like,
I mean, it is exploitation. It's working.
But it's like, yeah, but listen. And he's like, but you'll own that content in perpetuity. But he's like, it was all very confusing. And it was clearly this calculated effort by Steven Crowder to, remember the scene in The Red Wedding in Game of Thrones where he turns to his best friends and goes, ah! And now he wants to start his own, I think he wants to start his own movement, his own empire.
They're eating themselves.
That's what I'm saying. What was so fascinating to me, it was one of the most bizarre displays I've ever seen in any media, let alone new conservative media. But it seems like as the battle lines have been drawn, the left, the right, legacy media, new media, now within new media, there's this like, I remember it was like Candace, Ben during the whole Kanye thing. Yeah. It's like all this fragmentation. And then at first the Daily Wire was like, we wish Stephen well. Hopefully we offered him a term sheet. It didn't work out in the end. Then 4 months later, we wish him well. But then he came out and with this recorded thing of his like best friend of 10 years. Yeah. And you're like, what? So then everyone at the Daily Wire has been ripping Steven Crowder to shreds. Ben released a video saying his despicable betrayal, where they're being fully transparent about it. Michaela Peterson releases a video explaining her dad's contract. He's like, I felt the need to say it because Steven has been saying how all of us are like shills for the Daily Wire. And I'll explain to you exactly what our agreement was. Listen, we're big boys here. We're adults. We negotiated a contract. Took 5 months to negotiate. And she explained like what they gave Jordan Peterson.
Those are opening terms. And then you say, no, that doesn't work for me.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So anyway, the Jordan Peterson thing, not to get into too much detail, you can watch the video. But you're like, why does he need this?
I want money.
You were being all cynical.
About the money.
Why does he need this? Why does he need this? And it was like they were able to. He wants to make a documentary. He has a film he wants to do. He gets flown all over for his interviews. Like they will fly an entire camera crew, to his cottage where he lives, so he could film it there. Before he was doing Zoom interviews.
Right.
And you're like, this is stuff he can't just pay for constantly out of pocket. Right. These operating expenses are huge.
I like my money.
I don't know what this is. It's not about the money. But you're like, why does he need this? It's like now he has a whole infrastructure in which he can do a 2-hour a thing that took 2 weeks to film, a roundtable discussion on Exodus with some of the brightest minds in the world. They fly everybody out, including security, hotels. Like he's not just going to do that out of pocket without the infrastructure and the machine of the Daily Wire behind him. Now he gets to do it. That movie, What is a Woman? Remember that movie, What is a Woman? Matt Walsh?
Yeah.
Produced by the Daily Wire. They want to compete with Disney. They want to do this, and they're running a business. Yeah. You ask, why does Jordan? You're like, he's such a. Why does he need the Daily Wire? That's why.
He goes, Ben, I want 3 things: money, and money.
No. Anyway, she explained it and made a lot of sense. I'm like, look, he has his opportunity to operate at a whole different level.
I hear that.
He was doing Zoom calls before, and now he's like, they fly. So sometimes he does a remote session.
Yeah, he can't raise his own money to do these things. He's like a meek little like professor.
Stop.
He needs somebody else to help him.
He could raise money, but you know what I'm talking about. It's like getting signed to a major label deal with all the infrastructure.
It's interesting to see behind
You're getting a sense of the business of this, and it's interesting to me. And I see nothing wrong with it, because they're like, Steven, Daily Wire's response is, we're capitalists here. Like, this is a market. We have to make money. We have to make profit. What are you talking about? And one of the weird things is this guy saying, I want to fight the left by acting like a total collectivist socialist, saying this is exploitive. It's like, just negotiate.
Yeah.
And it's all about clout and leverage and what people can offer. And it was so bizarre and just clearly calculated. Yeah. It was really icky and dirty, and now it's all unfolding. Right, like today, it's all unfolding.
So
he's going on Timcast tonight. He's going on Tim Pool tonight
to talk about it.
Yeah, because Candace Owens was just on last week saying, this guy going off like
against Crowder.
Yeah. Everyone's like, this guy is the what's his name what's the people who betrayed Winterfell?
In the Red Wedding.
Yeah, he turned to her.
I'm not gonna remember.
I can't remember because Game of Thrones is too far in the past. But this is the scene of the Red Wedding. Stephen Crowder is that guy. And he turns to her and goes, Stephen Crowder, who they've been on podcasts together. They've all been in the same club.
Yeah.
And now a betrayal. And I know you like that stuff.
I love that.
I hope I
stuff.
summed it up.
I mean,
it was so fragmented.
It seems like the natural course of things because like their business model is culture war. So you just created a sort of a new war to fight within the war.
Yeah.
It's like smart. It's
Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Like you think all
that's
these
how they think. So that's what they see. And
it feels and
he just created a new culture war.
Yeah, and I had the opportunity because I saw Ben in person. We were talking about it, but he was just
did he say anything you could share about it?
Not really. I don't feel like that would be cool of me to share because we were just talking off the record about things. But you know, it was crazy. But he's like they're over it. They're moving on.
Did he seem stressed or was he? It was just like another thing?
I'll say it was on the weekend. I didn't want to talk shop too much on that. We were just like
I'm sure he doesn't talk politics not when he's sure he doesn't talk politics when he's off work.
Yeah, listen, I try to be respectable of that space a little bit, you know. When we both have our kids with us.
Do people swarm him in these places in like shul and synagogue?
I think everyone tries to kind of keep it balanced. The younger people are coming up like, "Yo, I love you stuff so much. I love it so much. It's amazing." You know, there's a lot of fans in Florida. It's not hostile.
When he walks in the room, is there like a vibe shift?
You remember when Neil was here?
Yeah.
And he was like, when a celebrity enters the room or somebody with a thing, I think the people who are there all the time are used to it. And it's fine.
What's his hair like in person? It seems like he has a good head of hair.
It's glorious, Michael. Nice. It's glorious. It's normal. It's normal. It's all kind of normal. You just try to play. It's just like, you get it. People are also like, you know, yeah.
So this thing kind of reminds me a little bit about the CoffeeZilla Logan Paul thing, which I've been following and I found really, really interesting.
Tell me,
have you been following the whole thing? We're late on this already.
We're very late. It happened a few weeks ago. Yeah. I know that there's a guy who's been trying to expose. Logan Paul has had his ups and downs in his content as a creator over the years. He was like big on Vine, and then he crashed and burned with Japan, the video, and then he had a comeback. I'm like, look at Logan Paul becoming this mature person, who's like now has this like the biggest podcast in the world, and then into NFT projects, and now someone's trying to expose him as a fraud.
So this guy CoffeeZilla, who I didn't know about until Lex Fridman had him on his podcast. He's like this investigative reporter that has his own YouTube channel.
Rogue investigative reporter.
Yeah, like 2.5 million subscribers, and he does, I think, specifically crypto stuff. He like has kind of found his niche a little bit in crypto. So I saw him on Lex Fridman, and then YouTube must have known, so they put up this new video that said like exposing Logan Paul's NFT scam, which was like candy for me. I'm like, I love to see that. And so he had this 3-part series about how Logan Paul
Zoo,
Crypto Zoo. So the first part was how Logan Paul is sort of a huge scammer, and then the second part is actually Logan Paul was the one who got scammed by this team that he has. And then the third part was just sort of like summing it up. I thought it was like candy. It was good entertainment, but it was also like pretty fair. It was pretty much saying like Logan Paul got in way over in his head, and he got scammed by these kind of sophisticated people who were looking for people to scam in a space.
Right.
He kind of got fucked. And then he sort of did, instead of stepping up and like taking accountability for the entire thing because it was his face on it, he sort of didn't. And he just kind of moved on to the next project. That was kind of like
And CoffeeZilla wouldn't let it go?
No, that was the conclusion. It got like, I think 7.5 million views. It was like a huge video for CoffeeZilla. And then Logan Paul came on. He's like, it was like winter break. It was like Christmas break. He's like, I'm going to address this on January 3rd. He comes out with a video saying basically, you think you got fucked. People who lost money on this NFT project, I'm the one who got fucked. I'm just like you. We all got fucked together, which I thought was just like a really poor way to respond to it.
Okay.
And then on his podcast, his buddy George sort of like pointed it out, and Logan Paul kind of couldn't wrap his head around it.
George Jenko.
Yeah, but now CoffeeZilla came out with like another thing, and then now they're going back. Now like you see the game. Now they're using it. They're like, this is something people want to see. Let's go back and forth for a while.
I've seen
we'll
the back and
generate
forth.
Millions of views, and like and now everyone's a winner. But it's kind of the same thing.
Is he going to have CoffeeZilla on the show? Is that something?
Probably, and he'll probably go on coffee. They'll probably go on doing appearances. But it's the same thing with like the Daily Wire thing, where they're just like, oh, this is like a new avenue to get views for both of us. Let's play a game.
Yeah, but I think when this stuff happens, the views it could be a positive or negative externality of it.
For him, at least.
For who? CoffeeZilla?
For Louder with Crowder, it's a
win.
It's a win. For Daily
it's a
Wire,
very dark win at the expense of your integrity and your relationships.
I bet you thought
I don't think it's a long game strategy.
Maybe not. Maybe it's a bad strategy.
The relationships that he's tarnished, the friendships that he's betrayed in doing something so low.
But maybe he realizes that's the soap opera people tune into, like damaged relationships, and like the payoff. The payoff at the end of like.
Yeah, but he has 6 million subs on YouTube. He makes millions of dollars a year. What do you have left if not the currency of relationships?
What do you mean? What does that mean?
What matters to you after that? Like you've moved the goalpost to the point where no, I still have to grow. I still need more clicks. I don't think clicks matter to him. He gets tons of clicks. Like he's won that game already that you're talking about.
I doubt he thinks it.
He's beat that game in a sense. Like he has an audience. He has a loyal fan base. He is able to tour and do the things he wants to do creatively. Then why go to war with people you have relationships that you value?
That's
very cynical.
I don't know any of this. It sounds to me like he's looking at it and goes like, "I'm at 6 million. Like I want to get to the 60 million. I want to be an Alex Jones big."
I think he might be off mentally and is like on this crusade of justice, this weird delusions of grandeur. Like they're exploiting the little guy and I have to stand up for them. And there may be some weird megalomania going on where he thinks he's the crusader to save the smaller YouTuber, and he's got a warped. It's so bizarre and inexplicable. Because to do it for clicks too, it's like you have a weird warped sense of priorities when like the people you've developed deep friendships with over the years and worked with and collaborated with to just for like the lure of clicks and growth. I know it's very appealing to people like us right now at the stage we're at where every click matters. Like it feels like something that we would give up a lot for, but at his level, and I just feel like that would be a very big price to pay for some more emails on your list.
It makes him, instead of in the ecosystem of Ben Shapiro, makes him his own brand, his own island.
He already is. He's so popular. I know to you it doesn't seem that way. He's huge.
But maybe to him it doesn't seem that way.
Maybe he's just taking issue with the fact that like the Daily Wire or these other institutions are growing and getting too big, and he wants to keep things rogue and indie. I don't really know. Maybe. But to record your friend of 10 years, like Ben was his lawyer. Yeah. Ben was his lawyer back in the day when he was doing drafting another thing on his behalf. Ben did some legal work for him. Yeah. Like I think when he was doing maybe when he was negotiating with Fox News for a correspondence, like Ben was his lawyer.
Right. Why would you record a conversation?
As a calculated effort to try to catch you saying something. It's effed up. Like to me, you can't like reputation, integrity, character versus clicks when you already have a lot of clicks and a lot of money, and like that's all you have that you can't replace. That to me is much more invaluable. That's all I'll say. It's invaluable. If you F that up, you could lose money, you can gain money, you can lose subs, you can gain subs, back and forth. If you lose your reputation, your integrity, your trust, your public trust, that's much more invaluable to me. Once you have the financial stuff taken care of and all that, I get it. It's like, I get why you may compromise one relationship or another. I wouldn't do it, but you can understand the incentive. The incentive is not there. Something else is going on.
In the Red Wedding, he gave up like one ally for another ally. You think there's someone else waiting in the corner? That's like, if you do this to Ben, I'll be there for you.
I'm not in behind the scenes of this theater to have any sense of that. But he's one of the most well-known people in this space. So I just don't. And it was a term sheet. It's a conversation starter. Here's what we'd like to do. He could say, nah, let's try this. Okay, let's come to something that something's calculated and weird. The only thing I could say is like, I'm going to go to war with the Daily Wire. I'm going to start my own Daily Wire. And this is how I do it. I'm cutthroat.
Sounds like to me. Because at the same, I never heard of him until this, so it's working.
Yeah.
No, seriously. Now it's
so maybe it's like, exactly,
I'm
actually a capitalist.
It's a national
I'm dirty.
Story. Yeah.
I'm dirty.
Yeah. It's a big boy move.
You like it?
I respect it. I like this guy.